So we're going to look at another Betfair football trading strategy in this video. And this one is the strategy of backing the winning team. That is right. Can it be as simple as just backing the team that is already winning? It might initially sound like a load of old nonsense, but I'm going to show you how this can actually work and then back it up with some real life trading examples, just like you can see on the screen here. I'm also going to give you a free download of the strategy to keep for yourself. So go grab a nice cold beer or a Bloody Mary and let's get into it. So this should be an interesting one. I do get lots of people asking me about football trading strategies which involve backing the winning teams. Now, strategies like this don't really fit my own style, but since so many people are asking me how they can do it, well, it's time to do a video on it. And if you're going to do it, then do it right, okay? Because it can be very easy to do this the wrong way. And to help you out even more, I have put together a free PDF ebook deliverable, okay? You can click the link in the description of this video to download this right now. And it's actually suggested that you should download it right now and then follow along the video with it. And then, of course, the PDF is yours to keep, whether this video stays online or who knows what happens in the future, okay? So you can use the PDF if you want to give this strategy a go in the real markets. Definitely follow along with the PDF. And of course, keep watching the video to see me demonstrate it before you decide if you want to give this a go yourself. But like I said, the link is in the description. If you want to download it, put in your best email address to receive it right away. You can pause this video and go and do it and then come back if you like. Anyway, we will keep moving with the video. So the whole concept of backing the winning team, I'm sure there's a few people a little bit perplexed by this and a little bit confused. And so the main reason for this video is that I'm going to be showing you that if you're going to be using this strategy, I'm going to be showing you what you should do versus what you shouldn't do, okay? Because there are a lot of people who will try this strategy and they will come unstuck pretty easily, okay? And here's a bit of an example on the screen, okay? And I did not obviously place this bet, as you can kind of see by the arrows right there, but this is just an example, okay? We've got this match between Spurs and Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are winning 1-0, okay? And their price is 1.24. Now, if I want to back Chelsea at this price to give myself that potential profit of £240, I have to be risking £1,000. So the risk reward ratio is not great backing winning teams, as you can see. And there can be teams that are winning. I mean, if it's Man City at home, they might be into like 1.05 when they're 1-0 up. So yeah, you can kind of see why the risk reward ratio is not great. And that's one reason why I would prefer to be going the opposite way. And in this match, I probably would be looking to go the opposite way and opposing Chelsea. As it was in this one, Chelsea did go on and win, but that isn't the point here. But anyway, what you see on the screen is probably what you should not be doing if you want to be backing the winning team, okay? If you want to use a pretty good back the winning team trading strategy, then avoid backing teams when they're this low at 1.24 at least, right? So I'm going to be showing you a much better way to be doing this right now. And just to summarize, here is what the strategy would be, okay? So we'll be backing the winning team and then laying at lower odds, and we would be profiting. Now, why would you want to be backing the winning team? Well, because you're kind of in a position of strength, or at least you're jumping in the market when there is a position of strength to maybe take advantage of. Because when a team is winning, we have a good idea now of the direction that the price is going to be moving in, okay? So number one, you can profit. If you back that winning team, you can profit if nothing happens, okay? Because if nothing happens, that means that the price on that winning team is going to tick down all the way to 1.01. Of course, you would look to exit out of your trade before it hits 1.01. Otherwise, it is just a straight bet. But we can easily gain some ticks, okay? Backing winning teams, we know that as long as they keep winning, then their price is going to keep ticking down, and we can back high, lay low, and it can be pretty easy because we know the direction of the price movement, okay? It's time value backing the winning team. And this is another way of taking advantage of time value that not a lot of people do think about, because they kind of associate time value with just trading the unders and overs markets. But yes, there is time value in the match odds market as well, okay? So you can profit when nothing happens if you just back the winning team and they keep winning, okay? You can also profit if that winning team scores next. Okay, so if they're winning 1-0 and then we back them and then they go and score again to double the lead, well, that price is going to go even lower, and we don't even have to wait for the time value. We can just lock in the profit at that particular point, okay? And that all the hard work can be done. Then it's more of a swing trade, okay? So that can go in our favor as well. So number one, nothing could happen and then we make a profit. Number two, the team that's already winning, and they must be winning for a reason, right? They score again and then we make our profit, okay? Now, obviously, the downside is that the losing team scores next, equalizes, and then, well, the match is now level, and then obviously the price on that winning team is going to go against you. Of course, that is the downside. But when you think about it, back in the winning team, I mean, there's 3 different scenarios here, and 2 of them will result in you making a profit. So I can definitely see why it's quite an appealing strategy for a lot of people. 2 out of the 3 scenarios on your side, with scenario 1 being the most likely scenario to happen. So you don't even need to sweat or hope for a goal to be scored. As long as nothing happens, then you will be standing to profit. So I could definitely see why the strategy is quite appealing. And so let's get into how the back the winning team trading strategy can work. Like I said, it's not really a strategy I use myself. However, I see so many people trying to use it and going about this in totally the wrong way, which is why I'm making this video today. So obviously, if we're going to back a winning team, the number one thing we got to look for is a generous price to get involved at. Okay, so if we can find a team that is winning and their in-play price is 1.5 or above, then that's a pretty generous price for a team that is winning by 1 goal or whatever. Okay, maybe 2-1. So that is my first suggestion. Look for teams that are winning but still have a price above 1.5. The higher, the better. Obviously, the point is as football traders, we are here to win ticks. The more ticks on offer, the better it is for us, but also the faster we can make those profits. I mean, if we want to get in at, say, 1.8, make 20 ticks by getting out of 1.6, that's going to happen pretty quickly. If we wanted to get in at 1.25 and then get out of 1.05, then you're probably staying in till the rest of the match, and then it may as well just be a bet. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind when you are trading football, is that we're trying to win ticks. Okay, so the higher the price, the better, and the more suited it would be for backing the winning team. The flip side, and something to keep in mind, is that if a team is winning 1-0 and their in-play price is 1.5 or above, then probably means that they were the pre-match underdog. Okay, so in a lot of these situations, you would be backing a pre-match underdog that is now winning by a goal to 0 or 2-1 or whatever, right? For those people who want to point that out in the comments. So yeah, that is something you would have to keep in mind. And but obviously, as we know in football, when the match is actually in play, the underdog might actually be performing better, and this is what actually creates the better opportunity. So that is something to keep in mind there. And generally, you're only going to do this in the second half, all right? And this is something to keep in mind as well, because I see people backing winning teams when they go like a goal up after 10 minutes. And, well, that isn't great, because you've got to wait maybe until the 60-minute mark onwards for that price to really start to move in your favor. So get involved in the second half, okay? During the first half, a team that is winning, their price is usually going to be pretty static during that first half, which of course can create opportunities in other ways. However, once we get into the second half, that is when the price is going to start to move in your favor. And like we spoke about before, you can profit via time value and via nothing actually happening, okay? We could just back that winning team because it's the second half. That price is going to be dipping down or ticking down, and then you can get out for a profit with nothing actually happening, okay? The most stress-free trades of all right? So that is something to also look for. Now, number 3 is the winning team must be playing better. Now, this might sound obvious, okay? But if we go back to number 1, what I mentioned is that, remember, we're going to be backing teams that were probably pre-match underdogs, okay? Not huge underdogs, but pre-match underdogs. So if we can find the matches where that pre-match underdog is actually playing better or just as good as the pre-match favorite, then we found a really, really good opportunity to be backing the winning team, because that kind of tells you, do you know what? They were an underdog before the match, but they're actually playing better in play. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the markets pre-match have got it wrong, and we've identified that in play, and we're taking advantage of that. Okay, that is pretty much one of the key principles of football trading in general. So look out for that. Look out for underdogs that are actually just playing better than the favorite, and they're actually leading. Okay, because that's where you can find the really generous prices available. And on that note, match reading is pretty key to this as well, because obviously you got to be able to identify the winning team that is playing better. Okay, and there could be an underdog, so you got to be able to look out for that. You can use the in-play stats as well to make that determination, and of course I got some real life demonstrations for you to kind of take a look at in just a moment also, right? And well, number 5 is have a plan. Okay, if you're going to enter a trade where you're backing the winning team, you're not just going to back them and then say, okay, well, now I'm going to see how it goes. You should have your entry point defined and then have your exit point defined. Okay, if I want to back a team that is at 1.6, then I say before I enter the trade, I'm trying to win 40 ticks. I want to get out at 1.2. I put my order in the market, and then we've got our defined entry point. We've got a defined exit point. If a goal goes in to make it 2-0, then obviously we can make that profit even quicker. But have a plan before you enter the trade. And again, that kind of goes for every trade you ever do when you're trading football anyway. And then of course you've got to have your exit strategies. And there are 2 main options that if you're going to do this. And number 1 would be exit the trade for a red screen, just lock in the loss. And that is if an equalizer is scored, you've backed the winning team, they concede an equalizer, then exit the trade for a loss. But number 2, letting it run is not necessarily a bad thing in this situation. I know a lot of people like to have that discipline of redding up the screen if it goes against them. But I mean, if they were doing well enough to take the lead and you've identified that they were the better team, then letting it run is not necessarily a bad thing, because they can still take the lead again later on in the match. So it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to just let it run in these situations. But those are the 2 main exit options I can really think of with this particular strategy. But I think it's time to check out some real life trading demonstrations where I can show you the ideal matches for this, why we went in for these trades, how we got in, how we got out, etc, of course. And well, while you're here, if you do like this video and you like the live demonstrations, remember to hit the like button and also to click the subscribe button. A lot of research goes into making these videos. If you like them, you find them useful, and you want to see more, click the like button to and show your support. And of course, hit the subscribe button as well. Okay, let's check out these real life examples. I really think you're going to enjoy these. So here's a match from the German Bundesliga: Bayer Leverkusen 0, Wolfsburg 1. So Wolfsburg were the underdog before the match. They've taken the lead, and you can see their price is still pretty generous because obviously they were underdogs before the match. However, we can see that, do you know what, Wolfsburg pretty comfortable and looking like the better team. So this looks like one of those rare moments where the markets have just got this wrong, and so we can jump on in play and do a back to late, or taking advantage of the time value or the time decay, whichever you want to call it, knowing that if we back Wolfsburg here 1.51, now if it remains 1-0 to them, then the price is going to tick down no matter what. If they score again, which they're looking very likely to do, then it's going to tick down again. Okay, so we've got a few things on our side, which is why it is a trade I like. However, these are pretty rare opportunities. I mean, it's not often you get an underdog who would take the lead and then be the better team. Usually all the pressure starts to come from the home team. But anyway, as you can see, we backed Wolfsburg here at 1.51, and the idea is that as long as they're dominant, we're going to leave the money on them. Okay, and no matter what, this price is going to keep moving in our favor. So let's see what happens next. So 82 minutes on the clock here, Leverkusen 0, Wolfsburg 1, and it's probably time to now exit out the market as the match is starting to turn. From what I can see, Leverkusen are, as you would expect, really trying to push for that equalizer, and Wolfsburg trying to just sit on their lead and defend it now, heading into this final 10 minutes. So we removed the risk from the market, and now we're in that decision time of, do we let it run for the free bet, £26.55, or do we just cash it out and lock in that profit? To keep things simple, and it is YouTube, we're just going to cash it out, lock in our profit, and then move on. Okay, so as it developed there, we backed at 1.51, we were out at 1.24, and it is a case of, in these situations, trying to pay close attention to the match and try and stick with it as long as that winning team is pretty dominant. Okay, as soon as the match turns, well, there's your kind of indication to at least remove the risk from the trade and see what happens there, because obviously we don't want to get caught out by the equalizer. That is our worst case scenario. But in this case, nothing happened. It stayed 1-0, but we managed to make that profit there of £21.45. So just a quick example, backing that winning team, taking advantage of time value. And the key to executing any football trading strategy is to always have a plan, okay? When you don't have a plan, you're basically planning to fail. So here we have Millwall against Bristol City, and Bristol City, before the match, yep, they were an underdog, and now they're leading at half-time, and the price is still pretty generous, around 1.75. We just backed them there with a £100 stake. So we're entering this with a plan, knowing that if it stays like this, or Bristol double the lead, this price is going downwards towards 1.01. Okay, we know that if Millwall equalise, we're going to have to exit and accept a loss, but in the meantime we are going to look to try and profit from the time value as the price decreases. However, where do we exit? Okay, so this is where you need to decide how much profit do you want to try and get out of this. Okay, so we backed them there around 1.70. Now let's try and see if we can get out around 1.5. Let me just adjust that. It's going to have to be 101. So we could look to say, look, we are going to try and exit out the market once it hits 1.46, for example. Okay, so it's going to be an average around, let's go 1.345. So it's around a 30 ticks that we're trying to gain from this. Okay, and then there's our plan, and we just put it in the market. Now you might want to go for more ticks, you might want to go for less ticks. The point I'm trying to make is that it's very, very important that you have your plan. Okay, so we put that in the market. Now if Bristol continue to be dominant, or as we know, if they double the lead, then that price is going to tick further down. Okay, so there's our plan. We're in at 1.75. We're trying to get out at 1.45. Millwall 0, Bristol City 1, 51 minutes on the clock. 60 minutes on the clock, Millwall 0, now Bristol City 2. And so this is one of the benefits of backing the winning team at such generous odds, is that if there is a goal, well, it could go to the winning team, and then all our hard work is done. Okay, so as you can see, straight in, we didn't even have to really hang around and wait for the time value to kick in to make that profit right there. So what we can do is that, remember, Bristol City have a 2-goal lead. Okay, and I want to just show you how we can maximize profits here, because it isn't just a case of hold on while I completely remove all the risk from this. So this isn't just a case of let's just cash out and take that £58. I mean, it is always tempting just to be done with it and walk away and get on with the day. However, what we can do is we can let it run further on and then see what happens. But well, the markets are going suspended, so there's a bit of chaos. Let's see what's happening here. Not quite sure what's developing. Well, anyway, let me just explain the plan in the meantime while these markets go crazy. The plan is, from here, and like I said, always have a plan, but always be ready to adjust your plans, okay? So we've now got that free bet there of £65.41. Now Bristol City are winning what we thought was going to be 3-0, is actually 2-0. So they're winning 2-0. Now, as it stands, I mean, Millwall need 2 goals. They need to score 2 goals for us to, you know, for this profit to be threatened. So what we can do is we can just let this run, and if it stays 2-0, if it goes to 3-0 or more, then we're going to win that 65. We're only going to exit out and just lock in the profit if Millwall can manage to bring it back to 2-1. Okay, so this is a way you can maximize your profits. So if Millwall can bring it back to 2-1, then we will accept the profit that is available, which will be a little bit smaller, but it's probably worth the risk in this situation. When you have an underdog who is outperforming the favourite by so much, you may as well try and squeeze every ounce of profit out of the match. Okay, so anyway, Millwall 0, Bristol City 2. If you don't hear from me again, then we have to assume that Bristol City won this 2-0. Just another update. It has now gone 3-0 to Bristol City, 74 minutes on the clock. So I told you it wasn't worth cashing out at that particular point. And so hopefully there's been a lot to learn from this particular example. You've learned the principle of entering a trade when you have a plan. Okay, we had a plan, we entered with a plan. But also the principle of when you are backing a winning team and the odds are still generous, you do need that bit of match reading. You do need to back a winning team that is obviously playing better than the favourite, which is not something you will see too often. Generally, an underdog, when they take the lead, they're going to start to defend, and the favourite is really going to start to push, and it can be a bit of almost an awkward trade to start to do. However, if you can find those winning teams, winning underdogs rather, who actually are worth the win and are still priced pretty generously, well, these are the really, really good opportunities to get involved in, and this one especially. Okay, Millwall 0, Bristol City 3. I think that's a wrap. I think that's the end of this one. So half time in this one, Malaga against Ponferradina from the Spanish Segunda. So this looks like a pretty good opportunity because the away team, they're leading 1-0. They took the lead around the 16th minute, and their price is still pretty generous. There's still some ticks for us to win, and that's what we kind of got to look for with this. So we're going to get involved. Let's back Ponferradina, and the initial plan is that we're going to see how the second half begins. Okay, and that's the great thing about football trading, is that you can be flexible. We can start the second half. If Malaga really turn it on and push, then maybe we can get out. But in the meantime, the odds are going to be ticking in our favour, so we could even get out for a small profit. But the Spanish Segunda is probably a good league to get involved in with this sort of strategy, because there isn't that many goals in it. Okay, so we can just let this play out, and more than likely it's probably going to remain 1-0 to the away team for a long while anyway. So that should be enough time for us to make the profit that we're looking for. But all depends on how the first 15 minutes of the second half go. Lots of pressure for Malaga. Maybe the price won't move so quick, so we've got to be ready for that one as well. Anyway, they're just about to kick off, as you can see. Let's see what happens in the second half. So we're about 68 minutes into this one, and this is Malaga against Ponferradina. And as you can see, I'm on sofascore.com. I'm just looking at the attack momentum graph, and as you can see in the second half, it hasn't really been too much pressure from either team. Nothing is really happening, so that's exactly why we're just staying in the market with this one so far. So remember, we backed Ponferradina 1.68. We're backing the winning team, and the price has been ticking down nicely ever since, as you should be able to see now. And we are currently in profit, and we're just ready to get out at any minute and maybe just cash it out and take the green. Just as soon as Malaga look like they're about to kind of turn it on, but it hasn't really been anything significant. It's been a pretty boring second half, but that's exactly what you want when we're doing this sort of strategy. So anyway, we're going to keep it going. We're going to let it keep rolling, and then as soon as we start to see anything develop from Malaga, then we close it out. But so far so good with this particular trade. Malaga 0, Ponferradina 1. 69 minutes on the clock. 77 minutes on the clock, and as I mentioned, I mean, you don't get that many goals in La Liga 2, so it was worth backing Ponferradina and trying to hang in there. They've kind of looked like they might double the lead themselves, which would have been a nice result for us, but it's starting to approach the business end of the match, so we can just close this out. I'm going to put in a lay here at 1.28, and let's get that matched, and let's just take our risk out of the market. And as you're going to see, that is probably going to give us around a £40 free bet on Ponferradina if we wanted to let it run. And here it is, just a case of, I mean, yeah, we could let it run. We've got no further risk in the market, then we would make a substantially bigger profit. I mean, around a 30% increase versus the cash out. But, you know, if we watched it and we just thought Malaga looked like they're going to squeeze that equaliser, then, of course, we can just cash out and take the profit. So anyway, just a quick example there. We backed Ponferradina at half-time, and these leagues are a good league to be backing winning teams when they are at generous odds, because there isn't that many goals, and it's pretty defensive, and so you could get a pretty stress-free trade, okay? So, yeah, we just made the profit on that one, and we're just going to lock it in across all the outcomes and step away for the final 10 minutes. Okay, let's take the money on this one. Okay, Malaga 0, Ponferradina 1, 78 minutes on the clock. So here's a match from what is the English National League. Not the best liquidity, but it's a decent opportunity here. Weymouth 1, Hartlepool 0. Now Weymouth were at the start of this match around an 8-1 shot. Okay, they've taken the lead and they're still priced around 2.4, so it's a pretty generous price, and we know that this price is going to start to steam in as this second half develops. So as with anything, whenever you trade football, and kind of the point of this clip is to enter your trade and have a plan. Always have a plan. We're not just going to back Weymouth here and just see how it goes. We're going to enter with a plan. So in this case, our plan is let's back them here at 2.4, but let's just try and get out when we get to evens. Okay, no specific reason, just showing you that we want to enter with a plan. Okay, now depending how the match changes or how the match develops, then hey, yeah, of course the plan might have to change, but always enter with a plan. Enter with your entry point, and now we've got our exit point. Okay, so we're looking to back Weymouth here at 2.4, and we know that that price is going to move in fairly quickly at the start of the second half, and then we should get out at 2, and then we'll have some green built up on Weymouth. Maybe we cash it out, maybe we let it run. In the meantime, Weymouth might score to double the lead, and that will increase our profits. And of course, our worst case scenario is Hartlepool might equalise, which is why I do say that this type of trading is definitely something you want to do alongside some good match reading at the same time. But anyway, Weymouth 1, Hartlepool 0. We've entered this trade with a plan. We're backing them 2.4, and then we're going to be out at 2. And so just to show you what's developed here in this match, Weymouth against Hartlepool. Remember, we backed Weymouth at 2.4 with a £100 stake, and we just wanted to get out at 2. And so that's been matched pretty comfortably. And now we've got that £40 of green sitting on Weymouth. And, well, now we've got something to play with. I mean, we could just cash it out and move on. We could let it run as a free bet. We could just completely walk away from the screen and see what happens later on. Or we can see how it plays out for the next 10-15 minutes and then cash it out later on for a slightly bigger cash out. But just to show you how the odds have moved here, as you can see there. And as it stands, I mean, we could take that around 18 to 20 pounds cash out. It's not the greatest liquidity, but yeah, we're better off just let it run as a free bet. And I always say to people, remember, it's a free bet. We're not losing any money if it ends in a draw or Hartlepool go on to win. Okay, so nothing is being lost at this particular point, but we've got a nice little £40 of free bet sitting on Weymouth. If they can hang on, they are the home team. Who knows? Let's see what happens. Anyway, and so just to show you how this one developed, we just let it run in the end. Weymouth obviously were leading at half time. Oh, sorry, the match odds market has now closed, but we left that free bet running because around 69 minutes, Hartlepool got the red card, and so we just figured, you know what, let's let it run with Weymouth being the better team. Maybe they'll double the lead, and that's exactly what we did. So as you saw there, Weymouth 1, Hartlepool 0, the final score, and we've made that £40 profit from that free bet. So that's about it for the real life demonstrations, but hopefully now you've got a much better idea of the best times to be using a strategy like this. And now it's time to hear your comments. I mean, tell me, have you used this strategy before? Do you still use it? Do you like the look of it? Or is this one you would avoid using? And do you have any ideas that would improve the strategy? That is what this channel is all about. And I know there are some really clever people who watch this channel, so it'd be good to hear your thoughts. Do leave them in the comments, and I'll try to reply to as many as I can. And don't forget that if you do like the strategy and you want the free PDF, then click the link in the description and you can download it to keep for yourself, and that will save you returning to this video constantly to check it out. Okay, link is in the description. You have to put in your best email address and it'll be sent right to you. If you don't put in a real email address, then we don't have anywhere to send it to. I do notice people putting in fake email addresses, and well, you're not really going to get very far because we can't send them out to fake email addresses, right? Anyway, as I mentioned, it's absolutely free. You can't go wrong with checking it out. Check the link down below for that. And if you've liked this video overall and just checking out different football trading strategies demonstrated, then do check out my free strategy class. This is not available on YouTube, but the link to that is in the description also. It's down below also. In there, I'll give you a sneak peek at all the football trading strategies that are working for me alongside similar real life demonstrations, including of the trades you can see on the screen right now. See how all these profits were made. And this is absolutely free also. Link down below also. So lots for you to get stuck into. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed checking this video out. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You get all the new videos as soon as they come out. And there are 2 videos on the screen which should be very, very good for you to check out next. So click on one of those and I will see you in the next video.